Good evening, Internet. I'm here with the illustrious Mr. Jared Lord from Zipperguts, Creeper Guts. And is there anything else you'd like to add to that list?
Um, yeah, I'm working on a project right now called Tracky Chan. It's kind of a grindcore thing, but yeah, it's in the works. But
So that's not out yet, but that's going to be out soon.
yeah, we've got drums tracked, we've got guitars tracked. I got to do the bass, and we have a vocalist. So
Interesting. So yeah, who's all going to be in that?
so we got my buddy from Ohio. His name is Walter. He's um, he's been in the music scene for a long time, but his most recent outing was a project he calls Master Bastard.
Yeah,
It's pretty good stuff. If you haven't heard it, check it out.
right.
And then I programmed the drums for it. I'll be playing the bass for it. And then we have Alan Versapellis from uh, Jello Swayze fame. He's going to be doing the vocals.
Wow, that sounds like quite a project. So when do you see that being released?
I'm hoping to get the first single out within the next month or two.
Right. Okay, so always hard at work. All right, so first question I have for
Trying.
you is how did you come up with Zipper Guts in the first place?
Well, okay, so the name itself comes from the movie Green Room in the scene where they're fighting with the bouncer guy, and Imogen Poots cuts him open with that box cutter. And every time I watch it, I was like, "Oh man, the zipper got scene," because she fucking unzipped him, man.
Right.
And so I was and so I was sitting at my desk at work one day, and I was just like, "Zipper Guts. That would make a good band name." So then I started scribbling in my work notes and came up with the very first ZG logo. And then I was like, "Well, okay, why don't I try to do something with this?" So, I dabbled with music here and there, and I was like, you know what? I'm never too old to try. So I started writing and composing, and next thing I know, I had a 4 song demo, and just kind of went from it. It's been a learning process, absolutely for sure, though. Like when I first started, I just had my little practice amp and a web microphone,
Right.
and like that's how I tracked everything: my vocals, my guitars, my bass. Like it, it was archaic, but it worked.
Hey. So, are there any other people in Zipper Guts? It seems like maybe you have some features or something on there, or is that always you?
So I try very hard. If somebody helps me with the track, I try very hard to credit them for it. So, like for example, you played drums for my first single, "Not Too Dead,"
Facts.
and I really don't envy you for that because at that time I had no idea how to play to a click track or keep in time. So,
So,
and then go ahead.
no, go on. I was gonna ask, is Rob Orr in Zipper Guts? Does he play on some of your tracks?
He's in some of the stuff. Like we collaborate a lot, but as far as like in the band, it's just me. With my newest single, Autoerotic Exsanguination, I had, I did all the instrumentation, and I had a drum track, and then Sam, my producer, he uh, he redid the drums for me and did a phenomenal job. And then he threw down some guitar solos for me, and so
Hell
like
yeah.
those were elements that I don't typically, because I'm not a trained guitarist, so I like solos are hard, and so I
Right.
typically avoid them. And so that was a nice element that he was able to add, and it really I think amplified that track.
That track is fucking fire. I've heard it at least 10 times now, and I can't wait to see what's happening next. I know you have more on the way, but it seems like there was quite a jump between some of your earlier stuff and this newer stuff. It's way on a different level. It's produced completely different. I guess, like you were saying, just getting other hands involved seemed to really help. Um, Moving on
Hmm.
though, how did Creeper Guts come to be? Because I'm super interested in this side project. Does it like is it on Spotify? Is it findable? Is Creeper Guts an actual band?
We have one song out. So the when we first okay, so Creeper Guts is a project that Rob and I put together. We took his original band, the Creepers, and we took Zipperguts and we combined them together to make Creeper Guts. And what I like about it is with my Zipperguts project, my focus lyrically is always humankind being fucking monsters because we are
Right.
as a race. We're worse than any cryptids out there. But with Creeper Guts, we can focus more on like traditional horror punk styling, so we can we focus on supernatural and monsters and ghosts and shit like that, and anything that I he and I would write that wouldn't fit into our normal projects goes into Creeper Guts, and we plot it out. And we've actually got a song that we've been working very hard on. It's called "We Are the Weirdos." And it's not out yet, but it's coming. And we got Missy Mooney from Two Minute Cage to do vocals on that.
Yeah, are we allowed to talk about that? Is that something that's coming soon?
It, coming sooner than later. Um, Production wise, I struggled with it. So now that I've connected with Sam, it's one of those things that I really would like him to take a look at
Right.
because I'm super happy with what he's done for me so far. And I think Creeper gets our first song, the first single that we released is called Fury. It's on Spotify and everything. And it's a fun song, but production wise, it's just lacking, and that's just inexperience. But it
Of
was
course.
something to get us out there, get our name out there, and it's we like to have fun with what we do.
I feel like punk rock's supposed to be like that, though. Like, there's absolutely no harm in things being a little bit raw. I am super interested in Creeper Guts, though, and where it's going. I'm a big fan of The Tomb of Nick Cage, obviously. So to hear that track made me just think, wow, there's bigger things going on with Jared Lord than people may realize. So,
Well, and so with Creeper Guts, we started off with it being like a alter egos, and this is kind of destroying it, but that's all right because like we came up with these aliases and based the band out of Transylvania because
okay.
spooky.
So it's got a whole, like, lore
Initially,
behind it.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Huh.
Initially, it was me, it was Rob, and then we had Kurt from Deadite was gonna do the drums, but he's he's got life. He's shit gets busy for us, so he hasn't really been able to dive in a whole lot, but he's still in spirit. He's still part of the project. And when the time comes for him to play on something, it'll happen. But for now, it's just me and Rob, and
Well, and Missy.
working. Yeah, for that one track, we got Missy. That was so awesome that she agreed to do that. I will let you hear a leak of that track later on because I think you'll enjoy it. And
Excellent.
yeah, it's just like I said, Creeper Gets is one of those things where we just want to have fun with it. We try to take inspiration from the Misfits and from Blitzkid, especially from Blitzkid. Like we wanted that three-member approach, dual vocals and melody, and so this is our attempt to not copy, but to pay homage to people that we love.
Nice. I love it. Speaking of paying homage to people that you love, what inspires you in the scene right now? What do you see that's going on that's got some buzz or just captures your own attention?
Ah, I love everything about this team. That's the beauty is horror punk is not a genre so much as it is a community. Because if you look, at the musicians within that, you've got guys that are, almost straight up punk. You've got guys that are metal. You've got guys that are like the Tomb Tones that are like they're basically Weird Al meets the Cramps.
I
They got
love the Tube Tones, so that's
you've got
fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so you got this huge melting pot of all these different genres, but the one thing that we all have in common is our love of horror and our love of the community. And so that's what really draws me in and holds me in. I've noticed over the years, I've been a metal fan most of my life, and it's off-putting because when you get into the communities, there's a lot of elitism and gatekeeping, and I don't see that with horror films.
Yeah.
And so it's a more welcome environment.
That I find 100% to be true, and not just with the metal category, but go to the opposite side and try to hang out with the kids that they are the elitist.
Hmm.
They're not about to let you in either, man. It's more about the numbers
Absolutely.
and more about the competition, and it's not about
Mhm.
community. I think that's the strongest thing about the scene is that we do all want it to exist, and we don't want to stifle anyone else in their creativity.
Yes, exactly.
So, on that note, what music do you not like? What scene do you hate the most? What bothers you as far as where we're at today?
Well, you know, I try to keep an open mind with music. And so, like, there's not a whole lot that I won't at least give a listen to. I'm not a huge fan of modern country music. Like, it just because there's a banjo in it does not make it country. Like, this pop stuff that go. It doesn't hit me. But there are country artists that I absolutely love and respect and enjoy listening to. Same with pop. Like I love early Billie Eilish, and I'm not afraid to admit that. You know, and Melanie Martinez, I love her. But there's also pop that I don't like. But I don't go out of my way to like hate on stuff because I would much rather take that energy and put it into the things I do love.
Oh, come on, I'm giving you a chance to throw yourself under the bus here. You're not going to take it?
Nope. I don't. You've never met me in person, but I am much too large for a bus to run over.
Okay, so what do you think about the future of music and where it's going? How do you feel about like the decline of vinyls and CDs and tapes and the uptake on everything being digital and it moving from being like, 20 track art pieces to just single track art pieces? Do you think that's something that's going to benefit us and continue to go well, or do you think that we're going to lose part of our culture because of it?
So I like this question because I come from the era of physical media. Um, I love the convenience of digital. I absolutely do. However, I am one of those people that I want to hold the music in my hands. I want that album artwork. I want to read the liner notes. Especially with vinyl and colored vinyl. I want to look at that splatter or that swirl design. I want every piece of it is an experience to me. Whether it's a CD or a vinyl or a cassette, it's physical. It's in my hands, and I can enjoy it while I'm enjoying it. You know what I mean? Like not just the audio, but the visual aspect. They go hand in hand. And with digital, you don't get that. It's okay. I'll throw it on, listen to it, go about doing what I'm doing. But when you've got physical media, you can take the time to fully appreciate what you've got.
I 100% agree with you, and it's unfortunate to see the art of it dying off. But I feel like the trade off to this is that with the digital age, in the past, if you worked really hard as a punk band and you put in a bunch of money and you printed your own CD, you could maybe try to sell it at some shows. You could go to the mall and try to give it out like hand to hand, but that was about all you had. And with
Hmm.
everything growing more and more out of control in the digital age, we're able to really push ourselves and get in front of audiences from Germany and Spain and the UK and around the world, where before we didn't
Yep.
have that. So it's kind of a
Yep.
50-50,
Accessibility.
like double edged sword on that whole topic.
Oh yeah. Like the accessibility factor is great. Um, but then too, like I think a lot of the current bands they're missing out on that aspect of pushing their music and handing out a CD or even just a flyer. Like
Right.
there are aspects that are like the legwork involved is important. And to me, it's more important than your Spotify numbers, really. Like if
Definitely.
you're putting in the if you're putting in the effort, maybe your music sucks, but you put in that effort and people enjoy, what you're presenting more than what they're hearing. You're trying versus, hey, I'll just throw this on Facebook and hope, that people see it. Well, that's not very much effort, man.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of truth to that, and I personally know like the difference between some of my favorite bands live and some of my favorite bands on recordings are just ridiculous. Like I love these bands live, but then on recording you just wouldn't understand what it is that you're actually listening to. Like the
Mhm.
whole art piece is important as a whole. Um,
Yep, exactly.
who else in the scene do you look forward to looking working with? Who would you want to work with out of everyone in the scene? This is your chance to call them out.
Oh God, there are too many that I would love to whether do a song or write with. Um, one of the ones that I absolutely would love to work with is Chad from the Creepy Crawlers.
Okay.
I love his vibe. I love what he's doing with them. I love what he did with the Jackalopes too. That was a great band. If you've never heard them, check them out.
Okay.
Uh, I'd like to work with the Toontones just because you got to have some silly every now and then. Like yeah, even with what I write, I try to incorporate dark. I have a dark sense of humor, and I try to incorporate that. But at the same time, I'm trying to disgust you.
All right, fun.
Um, so then I've worked with you, which is scratch that off my bucket list. I've worked with Rob with and Vincent Van Gogh, scratch that off. I'd like to work with Missy more just because I love what she does. Her vocals are unmatchable.
Fair.
Um, and then I don't know if you're familiar with Rob Godwin, but I'd like to do a track with him someday.
Right.
And then anybody else, anybody that's willing to work with me, hit me up. I'll probably do something with you.
Nice, nice. And that actually leads me to just bring up, like, you playing bass on my album was phenomenal for me, and I'd like to just put out there to the world that, hey, man, if you guys need a bass player or maybe a rhythm guitar player, this guy is here for it, and he will not let you down. Um,
I
what's
enjoyed that.
what's next for Zipperguts, man?
Um, I've got a couple things in the works. I'm actually going to plug something real quick. Rob and I, we have Creeper Guts, but we've got an acoustic project that we're working on. We're calling it The Unnameable,
Okay,
and it's just going to be me and him, two acoustic guitars, and trading off vocals. We've got a couple things in the works with that. Um, I do have a Zippergut song that I'm working on for a comp that I'm not going to disclose too much about. Um, it's going to be exclusive to that comp, so when the time comes, I'll announce more. But it's going to be interesting. I will tell you the name of the song is "Eat Shit and Live."
nice.
I don't know if you're familiar with. I don't know if you're familiar with the Friday the 13th movies, but that is a quote from there. But the song has nothing to do with Friday the 13th.
Right. Okay. Well, that's quite a little lineup. Sounds like you've got more than one project going on. Definitely working on some things.
I try.
So I heard you're a really good cook.
I can be, yes.
Yeah. So what do you like to make?
Well, so this will just to give you an idea of how Midwestern I am. I like to make hot dishes, or as everybody else in the country calls them, casseroles.
Okay.
But I make I make a few other dishes that are pretty good. I make what's called Aussie chicken. It's a honey mustard sauce, over top of a chicken breast with mushrooms and bacon.
Damn, that sounds
That's a good
amazing.
dish that I make.
I can't
Oh,
cook
it's so good.
anything, so it's always phenomenal for me to hear. All right. What was your first concert, Jared? I just want to know what shaped you to be the person you were.
So my first concert was the Goo Goo Dolls back in I want to say 1994,
Nice.
maybe 95.
So, do you feel like that had any
Yeah.
influence on the person you became, or just kind of a
Oh,
passing thought?
actually, so here's the thing. Like when it comes to the Goo Goo Dolls, yes, they are a very butt rock, band. but back then they were still coming out of like I won't call them a punk band, but they had some punk leanings in their early work, and that really showed in their stage presence and their performance, and I enjoyed that. So that being my first concert and being introduced to another side of a band that I hadn't even realized existed was a lot of fun.
Makes sense. Well, that's cool. Everybody enjoys their first concert, man, and it seems like it really does
Oh
stick with
yeah.
you no matter what. So on that note, what was
Mhm.
your favorite concert out of all the ones you've ever been to? What's the one that stuck with you the
Oh,
most?
so I have to divide that into two different ones. So as far as Fargo bands go, because that's where um, technically that's where Zipperguts was based out of before I moved. But there was a band called Brutaler, and you've reviewed them,
Right.
and I got to see them perform live, and it was their last performance before they broke up. And my God, you want to talk about high energy, melt your face off, and just having fun. That was the show for that. And then as far as like national acts, the best show that I went to was during the Slayer farewell tour. And so it was Testament and then Behemoth and then Anthrax and then Lamb of God and then Slayer came out and just fucking ripped.
Nice. That sounds sick. Yeah, could only imagine to see Slayer live.
Oh, it was so good. And then I have to also give props to Wednesday 13. I traveled all the way down to Nebraska to go see him perform.
Sorry about that. That was my bad. I dropped the call. You were just mentioning that you went and saw Wednesday 13.
Oh yes, he was opening for Dope and Static X, and I got the chance to meet him beforehand. It was great. They put on an amazing performance, and I hope to come back and see him sometime and do like an over or a headlining gig because yeah, opening just it wasn't long enough to enjoy.
Yeah, was it only like a 15-minute set or something?
Yeah, it's probably a good 20 minutes.
Right. Dude
I
has
mean,
so many songs under so many different
oh, I
names.
know.
Like,
Oh, I know. And then too, like this last year, he's been doing the Murder Doll stuff too. So it's like, oh man, I missed him out.
so on that note, who else in the scene have you had a chance to meet? Who had an influence on you? I've heard that you crossed hands with a few people.
Yeah. So a few years back, Michael Graves came to the Fargo area, and so I got a chance to meet him, which at the time was really cool. But the best part of that was I actually got to meet Nim Vind, Howie Wowie, and Goolsby and Loki.
Wow.
And that was oh god, dude, that night was so spectacular. Like we were me and my friend were the only two to show up for the meet and greet, and so we got to spend like a good hour and a half just hanging out with the guys while they were setting up their merch table and just talking and like Goolsby just sat and chatted with us while he was drawing a picture on a symbol. Like
How fucking cool is that?
it, I know, right? It was such a cool experience. I mean, like as a fan, like you get that fangirl moment, or whatever. But like with those guys, they're just so down to earth that like you know it started off that way, but like you could just tell that like they weren't all about hey you need to worship us because we're rock gods. They're like hey man, how you doing? You know what I mean? Like it was just so great.
Yeah, it's good to hear that still cool and still down to earth and still modest after all this time. I mean, dudes are legends, so what a wild
Oh, I know
ride.
it.
So, Jared, you have a ghost story for us?
What kind of ghost story are you looking for?
Only a real one. You ever had any
Uh,
supernatural experiences? I'm just a bit curious.
oh yeah, no, I spent my high school years living on a farmhouse that was over 100 years old, and I would be lying if I said I didn't see a few things here and there. Never anything super crazy. It was just stuff out of the corner of my eye, but I did see some shit.
So, definitely, you're a believer then. You're gonna say
Oh,
that
absolutely.
probably spirits are real.
Absolutely. I mean, I have a hard time believing that, when we die, it's just nothing. Like religion shit aside, like 'cause I don't care for organized religion. That's another topic. But like, I, we're pure energy. I mean, energy doesn't just disappear. So I mean, there's no way that we just die and we're gone. Like, I just don't believe that's possible.
Interesting. I'm kind of a skeptic about it, but only because I haven't had an paranormal experience my whole life. And god damn it, if you look at me, you could tell that I've been trying. It's just not happening for me.
Right? You're like a walking kick me sign.
So, I wanted to talk more about what Zipperguts is all about. You said it's more about like the darker side of life or even humans and just how nasty and terrible they are, which is interesting because most horror punk bands take a more cartoony, more campy approach to their
Oh
music.
yeah.
So, what inspires, I guess, mostly your lyrics to say the things that you do?
Uh, so it's some of it's inspired by movies. Like for example, my song "Lotion," clearly about Buffalo Bill. You know, um, I did one called "Gallery of Torment," and that was about from the mindset of Machine from the movie 8 mm. Which, if you have not seen that movie, I highly recommend it. Very good stuff. It's about the seedy underworld of snuff films, and it's just it's a gut wrenching look at the shit that like we take for granted, like like human trafficking and shit. That's all real, and people die over this stuff, and it's unfortunate that human beings can do that to another human being.
It is shocking the world that we live in. I won't deny that on any level. Like I said, I've never had a paranormal experience, but every monster I've ever encountered in my life was a human. And most of the
Yep,
fucked up shit that I see and most of the shit that scares me isn't something paranormal. It's real people that just seem to have snapped.
exactly. And that's what I try to focus on. What I did with my newest song with that autoerotic exsanguination, I took an approach with. So I was talking to a friend of mine on Instagram, and we were both discussing the beauty of the song "Black Widow" by Cancer Slug. Beautiful song. I mean, you could look at it either as like a knock on women, but I don't feel that it ever was. Or you can look at it as this is an empowering thing. This woman takes what she wants, and that was a really cool take that she and I, got from that. And so, like that conversation inspired me to write my own version of something like that. So, yeah, autoerotic exsanguination is literally an empowered woman that she has this severely disturbing kink where she wants to kill you while she's fucking you. But
Very Black
this
Widow.
is her empowerment. Very, oh yeah. So it's like very empowering in that she's taking what she wants. She's going for it. But at the same time, like this is dark. This is disturbing. This is humanity. This is the kind of shit we do.
So if people haven't heard this song yet, where can they go to find it? Where should they go to find it?
It's on Bandcamp. It's on Spotify. It's on iTunes and Apple Music. Um, Anywhere you can stream your music, it's there.
Excellent. Well, that's good to know. I heard there's a video coming for it soon. Is that something that we can look
Yes,
forward to?
yes. And I appreciate you doing the work for that. Um, I'm I'm actively looking to figure out how to post it to not my personal YouTube page, but for like the Zipperguts page that was created for me. So once I can figure that out, or if I can't even do it that way, but it's coming and it's going to happen, and I think people will enjoy the hell out of it because it's the beauty of what we do is if you're not taking it at 100% face value for oh my god, this is just disturbing, and you look past that and go, hey, this is kind of cool, and then you take the video aspect of it, and it's so much fun to get that visual. I don't want to spoil it because when that does drop, people are gonna love it. That's all I can say.
So, what do you do outside of music, Jared? What do you enjoy? Do you have hobbies? Do you enjoy your work? Do you I know we talked a little about cooking, but what else did I miss?
So I like to play Skyrim, you know. Yeah, it's the game's like, however many decades old at this point. I mean, not decades, but you know what I mean. It's old, but I just enjoy it. I like to read, I like to write. Um, in fact, if you ever want to check out my short stories, uh, go to www.writing.com/author /Necrotal0. And I will spell that. It's Nekratal and the number zero. And
Excellent.
that will take you to,
And we'll get links for all of these things and have them in the descriptions as well.
sure, no problem. Yeah, and that's, some short stories and some poetry that I've written over the years. I really enjoy, I find writing, whether it's lyrics or, a story, whatever, I find it to be uh, a
Outlet?
nice way for my, yes, an outlet, a nice way for my brain to just let go of the shit that's bothering me, whether it's, work or something personal, relationship wise, whatever. It's an outlet for me to say whatever's on my mind and get it out. And then I can just move on with myself.
Nice. So, as of your new single, is there an album going to follow that up or an EP, or is that just like a single piece of work? Did you have more coming from Zipperguts, or are you going to change your focus onto some of your side projects?
Um, I've I've always got ideas for everything that I'm doing. I mean, if you could look inside my brain, you'd probably like cry. Like, I've got Zipper Gut song ideas. I've got Creeper Gut song ideas. I've got Cracky Chan song ideas. I've got, ideas for, layout for a project and ideas for who could I ask to help me with something. Like, there's just so much bouncing around in there. So it's kind of like just trying to catch a dart out of the air and focus on one thing.
So I always like to ask people this in my interviews because I just never know. Is there anything that I should have asked that I didn't? Was there anything that you were hoping to talk about that I skimmed over for some reason?
Um, I can't think of anything, but I do realize I do have an announcement. So there is a track that's going to be coming out soon, and I gotta thank Sam because I recorded this cover that I released over a year ago. We're gonna do a Alkaline Trio compilation album, and it's still happening, but it's just the focus has been on other stuff with a lot of like the label and the bands and stuff. So I've gotten the okay, and I'm gonna drop my track as a single that I did for this. So keep an eye out for my cover of Alkaline Trio's "Fuck You Aurora" because it is fucking awesome.
Excellent. Glad to hear it. And on that note, is there anything else that you'd like to plug?
Yeah, check out Vincent Van Ghoul's newest release, Butcher Shop.
Nice.
Tales from the Butcher Shop. It's a fun little EP. Uh, I had the pleasure of writing the lyrics for the song Butcher Shop for him, and
Oh, wow.
uh, in turn, we also named his recording space the Butcher Shop. He makes his masks there. He makes his music there. And yeah, because of that, he got a nickname for his studio.
Fun.
Mhm.
Okay, man. Well, we're getting close to the hour, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Like I said before, we'll have the links to everything Zipper Guts and Creeper Guts and writing related in the comments. And it was so glad to talk to you, Jared. It was fun as fuck, man. I'm glad that we finally got the opportunity. I've been working with you for a minute now, and it was fun to just sit
Oh
down
yeah,
and chat with you, bro.
oh yeah, I'd do it again in a heartbeat.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and sign off. But until next time, we may be freaks, but
We are not alone.
that's right, buddy. Catch you later, Jared. Have a good one.
Yeah, have a good one.